The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Introduction. Money as a psychological matter. Morgan Housel argues that money is not just a mathematical or financial subject but deeply psychological. Most of the economic decisions we make are not determined by exact formulas but by personal experiences, fears, aspirations, and emotions. Two people with the same financial education may behave radically differently with money simply because their contexts and life experiences are different. That is why the key is not only knowing about investments but understanding how we think and feel about money. Chapter 1. Nobody's crazy. Each person forms their financial beliefs based on their own experience. A young person who grew up in the 1970s in the US may associate inflation with economic danger. Someone who grew up in the 1990s may associate money with prosperity. What seems irrational to one person, like keeping cash under the mattress, may be perfectly logical to another, because their past taught them that banks fail or markets crash. Core idea: don't judge other people's financial decisions without understanding the life context that led them there. Chapter 2. Luck and Risk. Financial success does not depend solely on skill. Luck and risk are always present. Example: Bill Gates was able to study in one of the few schools that had computers in the 1970s, giving him an enormous advantage. Without that environment, he might never have founded Microsoft. In the same way, talented people can fail not because of lack of skill, but because risk turned against them. Lesson: don't attribute all your success only to your talent, nor all your failure only to your mistakes. Recognize the influence of external factors. Chapter 3. Never enough. Greed is one of the greatest enemies of financial well-being. Example: Rajat Gupta, a successful multi-millionaire executive, risked his reputation and freedom in an insider trading case because he wanted more money, even though he already had more than he needed. The idea of never enough leads people to ruin fortunes. Comparing your wealth to others is a never-ending trap. There will always be someone with more. Conclusion. Learn to define what is enough for you. True wealth is not accumulating without limit, but being satisfied. Chapter 4. Confusion. Getting rich versus staying rich. Making money and keeping money require different skills. To make money you need optimism, risk, and ambition. To keep money you need prudence, discipline, and restraint. Many people lose fortunes because they think the same aggressiveness that allowed them to gain wealth will also allow them to preserve it. The key to lasting wealth is being humble about luck and prudent with risk. Golden rule: to maintain wealth, act as if you could lose it at any time, even if the probability is small. Chapter 5. Saving. Saving does not depend so much on how much you earn, but on how much you spend. High earners may always live in debt because they spend everything they make. By contrast, someone with modest income can build wealth if they control expenses. The key lies in behavior, not income. What truly gives financial freedom is not investment returns, but the ability to save consistently. Key idea: your personal savings rate is more important than your investment return rate. Chapter 6. The Man in the Car Paradox. When we see someone driving a luxury car, we think, what a successful person. In reality, what we admire is not the person but the car. We want the luxury itself, not to be the driver. Paradoxically, the owner probably wanted recognition and admiration, but in practice, people only notice the object, not the person. Reflection. Visible status and wealth don't always produce the admiration we believe. True financial independence is not showing wealth, but having control over your time and decisions. Chapter 7. Freedom. The greatest form of wealth is not money, but control over your time. A person can be rich in assets, but if they have no freedom to decide how to spend their day, they are not truly free. Savings and financial independence let you say no to things you don't want and yes to what really matters. Message: money buys happiness, but not through material goods because it buys freedom of time. Chapter 8. The Man Next Door. Social comparison is one of the greatest sources of dissatisfaction. There will always be someone with a bigger house, a more expensive car, or a higher salary. Social media amplifies this trap by exposing us to carefully edited versions of others' lives. The result: instead of enjoying what we have, we feel we are missing something. Lesson: true wealth is invisible. Peace of mind, independence, security. Chapter 9. Wealth is what you don't see. What we usually see are symbols of wealth: luxury watches, cars, mansions. But real wealth is not what you spend. It is what you save and invest. Someone who appears rich may be drowning in debt, while someone who looks modest may be a silent millionaire. Core concept: Wealth is the money that hasn't been spent yet. Chapter 10. Save money. You don't need specific reasons to save. I want a car. I want a house. Simply saving is a cushion against the unexpected. Savings are like insurance. You don't know what will happen, but you know something will happen. Having money saved provides options and flexibility in the future. Housel insists you don't need a big concrete goal to justify saving. Saving is good in itself. Practical key: always save, even when you don't have an immediate goal. Your future self will thank you. Chapter 11. Reasonable is greater than rational. In finance, most people don't act rationally in the academic sense. Example: mathematically, it makes sense to put everything in stocks for maximum long-term returns. But emotionally, many prefer to keep cash because it provides security. Housel says it's better to be reasonable, have a strategy you can stick with, than perfectly rational, but unable to sustain it during crises. Key idea: in money, being reasonable is more powerful than being rational. Chapter 12. Surprise. Financial history is full of unexpected events. The Great Depression, the 2008 crisis, COVID-19, all examples of events almost nobody predicted. Basing decisions on what we think will happen is risky. The best approach is to assume surprises will always come and build strategies resilient to uncertainty. Message: don't try to predict the future, prepare for surprises. Chapter 13. Room for error, margin of safety. One of the keys to financial stability is having a margin of safety. Example: if you calculate you need 4% annual returns to reach your goals, plan as if you needed 3%. That way, you have margin if things go wrong. Extra cash, less debt, and moderate expectations all build margin. The common mistake is being too optimistic and leaving no room for error. Rule: safety comes from underestimating what you can earn and overestimating what you can lose. Chapter 14. You and me. Different people have different investment horizons, so they may make seemingly contradictory decisions. A trader seeking daily profits may panic sell when markets fall. A retiree may prefer safe bonds. A young investor may buy stocks in a downturn because they have 30 years ahead. Nobody is wrong. Each decision depends on personal context. Reflection: don't copy others' strategies without considering your own goals and timeline. Chapter 15. The seduction of pessimism. Bad news sounds smarter and more convincing than good news. Saying everything will crash seems deeper than saying everything will get better. But historically, economic progress has been constant despite crises. Pessimism sells better in the media because it grabs attention. Yet, over the long term, prudent optimism is far more profitable. Core idea: pessimism is tempting, but well-founded optimism builds wealth. Chapter 16. When you'll see it inside yourself. Many people think of investing as competition against others. I want to beat the market. Housel insists the only market that matters is the one inside yourself, your goals, lifestyle, and needs. It doesn't matter if others earn more. What matters is whether you are achieving what you need to live well. Key: the true measure of financial success is internal, not external. Chapter 17. Confusing wealth and happiness. Many people believe money buys happiness directly. In reality, what it buys is comfort, security, and freedom. Happiness comes from deeper areas: relationships, purpose, health. Money can boost these areas by reducing stress and buying time, but it cannot replace them. Reflection: money is a means, not an end. Chapter 18. Nothing's free. Everything in finance has a price, though it's not always obvious. The price of high stock returns is enduring volatility, uncertainty, and temporary losses. Many want the benefits without paying the price, bearing uncertainty, and that's why they fail. Understanding and accepting the price makes it easier to stick with a strategy. Lesson: there are no free lunches in investing. Risk is the cost of success. Chapter 19. You and your game. Each person plays a different financial game. A fund manager maximizes returns to show annual results. A young saver invests for 40 years ahead. A trader seeks immediate profits. The mistake comes when you copy the strategy of someone playing a different game. Example: if a millionaire sells stocks because they no longer need risk, that doesn't mean you should sell yours. Conclusion: know which game you are playing and stick to it. Chapter 20. The power of stories. People don't make financial decisions based on formulas, but on stories they tell themselves about money. Example: investing in stocks is risky. Might be the story of someone who lived through 2008 and lost their house. Stories are powerful because they guide emotions and therefore decisions. The goal is not to eliminate stories but to recognize and question them. Message: be aware of the financial narrative guiding your actions. Epilogue: Confessions. Morgan Housel ends the book by sharing his own financial philosophy. Live below your means, have a margin of safety, save without a specific purpose just to gain flexibility. Independence of time is worth more than luxury. You don't need to be the best investor, just a consistent and prudent one. Closing. The psychology of money is not about formulas, but about how to live a calm and free life through wise financial decisions. Overall conclusions of the book. Money is more psychological than mathematical. Emotions, experiences, and context weigh more than formulas. Luck, risk, and time play huge roles. Recognizing them fosters humility and prevents rash judgments. Define what is enough for you. Greed and comparison destroy wealth and happiness. Real wealth is invisible, not what you show but what you save and the freedom it gives you. Saving, margin of safety, and reasonableness are essential. More important than being a perfect investor is having a plan you can maintain. Independence of time is the greatest form of wealth. Money is a means to achieve peace and freedom, not an end in itself.